We're talking about magnesium. So glad you guys are here, and we have a lot to go over tonight. And if you stay until the very end, I have a little free gift for you. So you want to make sure that you stay until the end so you can get my little gift that I will be giving to you that will be very helpful for each of you. So hope you can stick around for that. I'm excited because I love talking about supplements in general, but magnesium is really one that I like to talk about because it's one of the most abundant minerals in the body, and we can't, our body doesn't make magnesium, so we always need to make sure that we consume it. And we're going to talk about the different ways to get your magnesium in. We're also going to talk about some of the side effects of magnesium deficiency. We're going to talk about how magnesium is important if you have diabetes. We're going to talk about how you get magnesium in your body. We're going to talk about the reason why it's so important that we have magnesium and what are some of the symptoms of like not having enough of it. So we have a lot to go over, okay? So let's get started and let's talk about magnesium. I love talking about supplements, and especially when it comes to magnesium, because magnesium is the fourth most abundant element in the body, one of the 7 essential minerals we cannot live without, and a deficiency can contribute to significant health problems, specifically in your heart and your muscles. So magnesium is a necessary component for the activation of vitamin D. So for example, if you guys are taking a bunch of vitamin D, right? But you're low on magnesium, that's not gonna, it's like the vitamin D might not even work very well. In fact, I've had a lot of my clients who I'll get them on vitamin D, right? Because their vitamin D is low. Most everybody's vitamin D is low. Their vitamin D is low, and then they're on it for a few months, and then they go back to the doctor, and it hasn't raised very high. And so then we realize, okay, you're deficient in magnesium. So then we talk about that. But normally, when you're eating enough good, healthy foods and you're supplementing with vitamin D, you will be getting enough magnesium. But anyway, you do need magnesium to be able to activate vitamin D. Okay. Also, glutathione, which is considered by many to be our body's most powerful antioxidant. Also, you need magnesium in order to activate that. Magnesium is required to activate tyrosine also, which is an enzyme that is known as the on or off switch on many cellular functions, and it is required for the proper function of insulin receptors. That's important if you're pre-diabetic, type 2 diabetic, type 1 diabetic, or you're insulin resistant, right? Because again, you need the magnesium to turn off that functionality of the insulin receptor. Low magnesium levels are consistently found in those with elevated insulin. So those of you, like I said, if you have insulin resistance, pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetes, chances are you will have low magnesium levels. And finally, magnesium is the most stored in your body by binding ATP. So if you're deficient in magnesium, you will also be unable to generate ATP, which is the energy of the cell. And because it requires different forms of ATP to do that. Okay. Magnesium is responsible for over 600 enzyme reactions and found in all of our tissues, mainly our bones, our muscles, our brain, and stress depletes magnesium. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. It is necessary for different chemical pumps to work, such as the heart, for our cells to make energy, to stabilize membranes, and help the muscles relax. So if you're having erratic heartbeats, arrhythmias, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, all kind of can be a part of a magnesium deficiency. An abundant mineral and electrolyte naturally found in many foods, and we're going to get into the foods that you can get magnesium from later in the class. And like I said, most of us are very deficient in magnesium, not only because we're not eating the foods that have magnesium in it, but our food is so depleted. So even if we're eating super healthy and eating all the foods that have magnesium rich, elements in it, chances are because our food is so depleted, we'll probably have to supplement in addition to eating foods that are rich in magnesium. Okay, so let's talk next about why we need magnesium and why it's so important. Okay, we have 10 reasons. I'm going to go through these quickly. You can always rewatch this later and take notes if you want, but 10 reasons why we need magnesium for energy production, because magnesium is a crucial cofactor in the synthesis of that ATP, that cellular energy, okay? And that's the main energy current of the body. So without sufficient magnesium, energy production in the cells may decrease, leading to fatigue and weakness. If you have chronic fatigue syndrome, CFS, you definitely have the inability to be able to create that ATP, and that could be caused from a magnesium deficiency. Next one, another reason why we need it is because of muscle function. Magnesium plays a key role in the muscle contraction and relaxation. It regulates the activity of calcium, another essential mineral for muscle function, helping to prevent muscle cramps and spasms. Also, for bone health, magnesium is essential for bone formation and density. It aids in the absorption of calcium into the bone and helps to regulate calcium levels in the body, contributing to overall bone strength and reducing the risk of osteoporosis. Heart health, magnesium is involved in maintaining normal heart rhythm and function. It helps to regulate blood pressure and supports the relaxation of blood vessels, which can reduce the risk of hypertension and cardiovascular disease. So I always tell my clients, if they're struggling with heart arrhythmias or blood pressure problems, either high or low, we want to get them on magnesium, or at least make sure they're not deficient in it. Nervous system support, we need it because magnesium acts as a natural relaxant for the nervous system, helping to calm the nerves, reduce stress and anxiety. Like I said earlier, when we're stressed, our body just eats up magnesium. So, and our nervous system needs magnesium. And if you're kind of tend to be a higher anxiety person anyway, you might need to supplement more with magnesium or get more of that in your diet. Or because you're so stressed, you could just be depleting it and you just need to supplement with a specific kind. Blood sugar regulation, for many reasons, magnesium is involved in helping anybody who has pre or type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance, because it's involved in the insulin metabolism and glucose regulation. So it helps insulin to transport glucose from the bloodstream into the cells. So when you have insulin resistance, right, insulin resistance means that when your insulin is raised, insulin grabs onto the blood sugar and tries to push it into the cell. Every cell of your body has an insulin receptor. Okay, so when you have high blood sugars, all that means is that you're not able to get the sugar into the cell, and it needs insulin to get into the cell. So when the blood sugars are high, insulin is released, insulin grabs onto the sugar, and if you have insulin resistance, it can't get into the cell, which is why it stays in the body. And that's why you have chronic high blood sugars. So what does the doctor do? They try to give you more medication to force it in, but eventually the cell gets full and the blood sugar stays high. So you're not fixing the underlying problem when you go on medication. You got to fix the receptor. You got to fix that receptivity. And magnesium is a part of. Next one, it's anti-inflammatory. So magnesium exhibits anti-inflammatory effects in the body, helping to reduce chronic inflammation, which is linked to various health conditions such as arthritis, heart disease, and cancer. Immune system support, again, pretty self-explanatory. It can help your body's defense against infections and illnesses. DNA synthesis and repair. Basically, it helps DNA synthesis and repair process, which is essential for cell growth, division, and overall genetic stability. And then migraine relief. If you get a lot of headaches or migraines, a magnesium supplement has been shown to be effective in reducing the frequency and severity of migraines. It helps relax the blood vessels and alleviate nerve excitability, which are believed to be contributing factors to migraine headaches. Okay, so those are very important reasons why we need magnesium. So how can magnesium help with diabetes, specifically insulin sensitivity? I talked to you about the cell and the cellular receptor, how when you have insulin resistance, it's not getting into the cell. So magnesium helps with that insulin sensitivity to make that work better. Also helps with blood sugar control. Magnesium regulates the release and activity of insulin, contributing to better blood sugar control. It helps maintain stable blood glucose levels by enhancing insulin's ability to facilitate glucose uptake in the cell. Inflammation reduction. So magnesium has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties, which can benefit individuals with diabetes and chronic inflammation as associated with the development and progression of the disease. So again, if you have diabetes, pre, type 2, you want to absolutely make sure you're getting enough magnesium. Cardiovascular health, diabetes increases your risk of cardiovascular complications. So magnesium supports heart health by regulating blood pressure, reducing the risk of cardiovascular disease, which is beneficial for individuals with diabetes who are at the higher risk of heart problems. Okay? So what are some causes of magnesium deficiency? Poor dietary intake. So you're eating fast food and packaged food and not high quality magnesium rich foods such as leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and which can lead to a deficiency if you're not eating them. Gastrointestinal disorders. This is a huge one, and I see this a lot in my practice. If you've been diagnosed with Crohn's disease, celiac disease, chronic diarrhea, what that means is that your body is not absorbing nutrition. So you can be taking tons of magnesium supplements, and if you have gut dysfunction, it's not going to matter. So what I do is I make sure that before I even get people on a lot of additional supplements, we want to repair and heal the gut first, and that takes a minute, right? So I never, when somebody comes and works with me, I never start them on supplements right away. We always do an assessment to see kind of what's the health of your gut, where your blood sugar's at, like where, let's look at your labs and figure out like where everything's at first. Because if you go and take a bunch of magnesium and you have bad gut health, you're just wasting your money. You know what I'm saying? So we want to make sure that we're always doing things in the right order and making sure that if you're going to be, taking magnesium supplements, that they're actually going to be absorbed. Okay. So that is one other reason why you may be deficient in magnesium. Another one is medications. Believe it or not, medications like diuretics, which most of you are on because you have blood pressure issues or heart issues, proton pump inhibitors, antibiotics can increase magnesium excretion and interfere with absorption. Okay, so the side effects of medications are always serious, which is why I'm always, always, always trying to help my clients get off the medications, because what medications don't do is medications never fix the underlying root cause of the problem. What they do is they put a Band-Aid on the current symptom and the current problem, and then they create additional other problems. This is why it's so crazy to me. But I've been interviewing women after women after women these last few weeks, and they're all getting on calls with me. And the first thing they're saying is, yep, the minute I got diagnosed, right away they put you on. Here's the 4 top they put you on right away. A diabetic medication such as glipizide or metformin, heart blood pressure medication, whether or not your blood pressure is a little high or not, cholesterol, statin, right? And then the next one is usually like a depression medication. It's like, wow. It's like that you can just be guaranteed that if you get diagnosed, whether you need them or not right away, if you get diagnosed with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, that's the path that you're going to be led on. So then you're on those medications, which will temporarily bring your blood sugars down, but it's not fixing the problem. It's what the medications are doing. Like, think of it this way. I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I just want you to understand this. When you get when you're on medications for diabetes, and the medications are designed to lower the blood sugar, okay? The blood sugar has to go somewhere. When you take a medication, the blood sugar doesn't just naturally disappear from the body. What the medications do is they force it into your cells and your tissues, which is very dangerous. We want to get rid of the blood sugar by what we eat, by exercise, by certain supplements. We want to get rid of the blood sugar from our body, not stuff it into the tissues and stuff it into the organs. And that's what the medications do. So this is why when you're on these medications for so long, all of a sudden, oh, now you got fatty liver. Oh, now you got heart disease. Oh, now you got neuropathy. Oh, because again, it's not getting rid of the sugar out of the body. It's forcing it into other areas. This is why your eyes go bad, right? Because the sugar is not eliminated from the body. The medications don't do that. So why do you think you have neuropathy? Why do you think you have heart problems? Why do you think you have calcification in your heart? Why do you think you have aches and pains and fibromyalgia, fatty liver, and then kidney problems? That is the process, and it's so easy to reverse if you work with the right person that can help you, and your doctor's not the one. Okay, I digress. I'm moving. I got to get back on track here. So again, medications will cause deficiency. So if you're on any of those medications I said, you're for sure going to have a deficiency. But here's the thing. It's like, if you're on those medications and you take a bunch of magnesium, it's not going to work because the medication is just going to prevent you from absorbing it. So it's like it's just a vicious cycle. So I know it's frustrating. This is why I do these classes to shed some light on it for you guys. Alcohol, so excessive alcohol consumption can lead to magnesium deficiency due to increased urinary excretion and decreased absorption. So again, alcohol does so many things in your body when you're not metabolically flexible or you're, still having issues with high blood sugars. Alcohol things just makes things so much worse. So while we're trying to heal our bodies from diabetes, you should be really conscientious of the amount of alcohol that you are consuming. And then increased requirement. And what that means is like if you're pregnant or you're lactating, or let's say you're an athlete and you're doing an extreme sport, like you're a runner or you're doing a marathon, or you have high stress. All of those things, pregnancy, lactation, intense exercise, stress, is meaning that your body needs more magnesium. And if you're not supplementing with it, you're just going to end up not being able to keep up with the demand, leading to a deficiency. Okay? So let's talk about the symptoms next. Okay? Symptoms of magnesium deficiency these are very common symptoms. Muscle cramps and spasms. Have you guys ever gotten up in the middle of the night and had a muscle cramp in either your toes, your feet, your calf, or your hamstring? It sucks. It hurts. That is partly due to a magnesium deficiency. Fatigue and weakness, because again, there's no ATP in the cell and you need magnesium for that. So if chronic fatigue syndrome, it's all related, right? There's just so many different things. Irregular heartbeat, again, because of the contraction and the release, the relaxing and the contraction of the heart. Nausea and vomiting, mood changes, headaches and migraines, numbness and tingling, constipation, high blood pressure, and anxiety. So those are some of the common symptoms of magnesium deficiency. Okay? So essentially, anything that is tight in your body, irritable, crampy, or stiff, whether it's a body part or your mood, probably a sign of low magnesium. So before you go out and run and get some magnesium, you have to ask yourself, okay, well, am I on medications? Am I, doing things am I stressed, right? How am I contributing to my deficiency? Is it really just because I'm not eating the right things, or is it because I have a systems problem? And so that's the first thing you have to correct before you start pumping in a bunch of magnesium, right? But here are 3 ways to increase it. Okay. One is stop stressing. Easier said than done. But it's kind of a vicious cycle, because if you're high stress, you for sure have a deficiency, right? So then that makes you feel more stressed because you have a deficiency and you're feeling tired, and that just causes more stress. So it's kind of this vicious cycle. But you need to practice, meditation and stress reduction, because again, when you're stressed, it requires so much of nutrition from your body. You need to eat foods that are rich in magnesium, and I'll talk about that in a bit. And then you can take magnesium supplements, and I'm going to give you a whole list of the different kinds and the different ones. There's so many forms of magnesium, and they all have similar but different functionality. So I will go over that too. So when we stress out, we deplete our magnesium stores very quickly. So it's good to know if a lot of you are stressed out like me. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I'm really good at managing my stress now, especially that when I had cancer, because listen, I got cancer because I was too stressed out and I suppressed my immune system. So back when I had cancer, and I talk about this in my book, and you guys can read my book. There's a copy of it here free in the group that you can download the PDF and you can read my book. And it's also sold in bookstores on Amazon. But a part of the reason why I made it a priority to work on my stress is because when you are so stressed out in your life, not only are you depleting all the nutrition like magnesium, but you're also suppressing your immune system, and your immune system is key for fighting off cancer cells. So I learned through my cancer journey that I learned how to de-stress. So I'm really not that stressed anymore because I am purposeful on making sure that I manage that stress and do my mindset work. And also, I'm very nutrified. I'm my gut is in good health. I eat really well, and my body's absorbing nutrition. So I'm just, but I had to train my body to do that, and that's what I do is I train other women how to do that. Okay, so um, that is, we just want to manage that. Okay. But here are some very common magnesium rich foods: leafy greens, nuts and seeds, dark chocolate, wild caught seafood, avocados, blackberries, and raspberries. All very high in magnesium. So if you're not eating any of these right now, I would absolutely start adding some of those in, especially the leafy greens. There's so much good minerals and vitamins in leafy greens. You should, I mean, I always suggest that you have at least one big pile of vegetables a day, um, even multiple times a day, but very, very, very good for you. Okay. Now, there are a cajillion types of magnesium. I'm only talking about 12 tonight. And I'm going to show you the type of magnesium. I'm going to also talk about the benefits of that specific magnesium and the usage. Now, here's what you can do. There's two things that you can do. I'm not going to probably talk about each of them. I'm going to kind of go through them. The first page that I talk about are the most common ones I use. The second page, I don't use those forms very often. So this first page I'm going to show you are the ones that are the most important. And um, like I said, you can get a magnesium complex, which is basically a organic magnesium that has a bunch of different forms in it. But I personally just kind of rotate and stick with one for a while, and then I get another brand, and then I kind of rotate. Um, I just, for me, have found that the complexes, although fine, I just haven't found one that there's a few of them that I've taken that have some of the forms in them that I just don't want. There's a few that I for sure want to be on. So I'll talk to you about that here in a little bit. But my point is that you can screenshot these, okay, to kind of get a really good idea. You can screenshot them, or at the end of this presentation, I will give you the magnesium types cheat sheet, which has all of them listed out on a document that tells you the name of the magnesium type, the benefits, and the usage. Okay, so I will give this to you for free because I love you and because I'm nice, so that you don't have to wait. But there'll be the same thing that I have here on the screen. So let's go over the different types. Again, this first page are I think they're the most important kinds. And these are the ones that I personally use and I rotate. So for example, I will take magnesium citrate, 400, sometimes 400 milligrams before bed. It really helps with keeping me regular. It also just I know is really good for bone health and muscle function, but there might be periods of time when I might be a little bit more irregular. And I just always want my bowels to be constantly moving. So I'll take that. But also, I like glycinate. And sometimes I'll take glycinate because it really helps with sleeping, helps with supports relaxation and sleep quality. It's also really good for overall deficiency. So if you go get a magnesium test done and you are very deficient, this is a really good type of form of magnesium to take if you have an overall deficiency. But I really like this because my brain is always going a mile a minute. And sometimes if I can't shut my brain off and I'm having a problem getting to sleep, I'll take some glycinate and that will really help. Magnesium oxide, I don't really take this one, but it's good. It's used a lot for heartburn and indigestion, although I have a better remedy for heartburn. So I've never really recommended this one, although some people have found it to be helpful. Then we have magnesium chloride, which is located a lot in sprays and lotions and things like that. It's just good for skin health. This benefits the skin. Then we have magnesium orotate, and this one is used a lot for cardiovascular and performance enhancing effects. So again, I don't know if you work out a lot or if you're an athlete, it might be good to take this by itself. Again, like I said, these are ones that if you take them by themselves, this is why you would take them. You would look at the usage and figure that out. But there are some magnesium complexes that will have a bunch of these in them. But again, I just think the complexes, depending on what kind you get, are just a little bit overkill. But that's just my opinion. Again, you do your own research and you find out what works for you. Then there's magnesium L-threonate. Again, this one, I tried this for sleep. I didn't think it worked very well. I did also try it for anxiety, but I feel like I have another product. It's a stem cell. It's a patch that I wear that is way better for calming me and helping. So I don't think this works as well for me anyway, but that's just me. But that is what it's known to do. And then we have magnesium sulfate. Basically, magnesium sulfate is just Epsom salt. So there's a couple ways to take this. If you have severe constipation, like severe, you can buy an organic Epsom salt and you can take it, like you can just take it, right? Like you can take a teaspoon and that will make you go. That will help you go for sure. But how I use this is I buy just regular organic Epsom salt and I put it in my bath, and that just really helps like with relaxing me. It helps with sore muscles after I've had a hard workout and I take a bath. I can just, because your skin absorbs, everything that you put on it, right? So if you're bathing in Epsom salt, you're going to get magnesium sulfite that gets absorbed into your skin. So this is the ones that I think are the best forms of magnesium. Now, the second page, I don't use any of these, but there they are. You have lysine, taurate, malate, bisglycinate, aspartate, and carbonate. I just would never take carbonate or aspartate. I think they're very, very hard to absorb. It doesn't break down as well. So I think that this page is the one that you guys should consider sticking with and experimenting with this page. Okay. Now, like I said, when you take magnesium either in the form of getting it through food or getting it through a supplement, it supports calcium absorption. It supports vitamin D and K2 levels. It supports energy production. It supports nerve function, sleep cycles, digestion, heart health, migraine headaches, and osteoporosis. So there's lots of supportive features of magnesium. So again, this might be a really good time for you guys to figure out like how you can start to increase your intake of magnesium. Taking straight up magnesium is not going to help you if, one, you don't know if you're deficient, and two, if your deficiency is caused by some of the things I listed in this class. So you want to do an evaluation. You want to assess your situation, because the last thing you want to do is go spending a bunch of money on magnesium and it's just not doing anything, right? It's never just one thing. Also, as you learned tonight, it's never just one thing that causes a deficiency. Okay, if you have poor gut health, if you're not eating the right foods, if you're stressed, if you have a lot of medications, if you have diabetes and you have insulin resistance, those things you have to. Now, can the magnesium help with that? Yes, but if you don't change what you're doing, the magnesium isn't going to work. So you've got to do it synergistically together, okay? It's never just one thing that's causing this. So I want you guys to know that when you present this to your doctor, all that they're going to say is, listen, no, you need to be on this medication. They don't know about supplements, so they're just going to always push medication. And I know most of you are afraid to go to your doctor because this is why. And I know this to be true because I've talked to many of you. You're afraid to go to your doctor because, one, you're going to go and you're worried that they're going to tell you that you're getting worse. And you go because you want to get your A1C done or you want to get labs done and you're not feeling well, you're not getting better. And you're scared to go because they're going to up your medications and then they're going to judge you and then they're going to yell at you and they're going to say it's your fault. You're not following what they're telling you to do. And that's just not the truth. They're not giving you any advice. The only advice they're giving you is get on more medications and go, lose weight and exercise. If it was that easy, none of you would have diabetes. It's a cellular issue. It's a metabolic issue. And nothing's going to fix your diabetes. Cleaning up your diet alone is not going to do it. Losing weight is not going to do it. I have so many women that lose a bunch of weight and they still haven't reversed their diabetes. I have these women that come to me and they're like, I've lost 50 pounds and my A1C is, 8. I can't lose weight. My doctor keeps adding increasing my medications. So you got to do it in the right way, right? That's just a part of this whole thing. So I talk to women every day that just are so fed up with not getting any help from their doctor. So that's what I want to just close with today is I want to help you. I want to offer you a solution. All right. So any questions? Anybody have any questions about this topic tonight or anything that came up for you while I was conducting the class? Anything that was like, oh, wow, I want to ask her about that. Jacqueline says, is there a blood test to check your magnesium? Good question. And yes, there is. Okay. However, sometimes the magnesium levels can be normal on a specific day that you get your blood test done based on what you did, based on if you took the supplement, based on if you ate a lot the day before, because again, magnesium levels can fluctuate based on your stress level. Okay. But yes, there is a blood test you can take to show that. And, but what I have found is the symptoms of magnesium deficiency are more real than what the lab says on the blood work. Because I've had a lot of people where their labs say their magnesium is fine, but they got all the symptoms in the world of a magnesium deficiency. So this is why I think sometimes, it's good to get the lab done, but it's not going to tell you too much if you're not understanding what is causing the deficiency. Good question, though. Question, let's see. What should a good magnesium level be? Yeah, each lab, it's a very good question. And the only reason I'm not going to give you a range is because every lab is a little different. So when you get the labs back, again, I'll get my labs done and my labs will sometimes say it's too high, and sometimes I'll say it's a little low, but I always go off of my symptoms. I always base it off of my symptoms. And like I say, if you get one low reading, it doesn't mean it's chronically low. If you get one high reading, it doesn't mean it's chronically high. Magnesium is one of those things that can fluctuate on a given day. Okay. So when you get your lab report back, just, kind of use it with a grain of salt. But if it's in their range, it's not really telling you much. What's going to tell you the most is your symptoms. Okay, so if I go back to the symptoms sheet here, let me go back to the symptoms chart. If you have any of these symptoms, you don't even need to get your magnesium checked. You can just start making some changes. Let me find it here. Here we go. If you have any of these symptoms, you definitely have a magnesium deficiency. But again, like I said before, if you have any of these symptoms and you go start taking magnesium, okay, if nothing seems to be helping, then that means that you might have to fix your gut before you can absorb the magnesium. So you can start taking some of these magnesium forms, but if it doesn't work, then you'll know that there's some other underlying reasons why you still have the symptom, because it's never just one thing. This is why it's so, I think, sometimes for you ladies, it's just so important to work with a professional like myself that can help kind of explain and help you understand all this, because it can be very confusing, and your doctor will just always say, here's a drug, and then those drugs are going to just make you even more deficient. Good question. All right, let me look it back and see if there's any other question. Jennifer said, I take a vitamin D in the morning and magnesium at night. No, you can take them together or apart. Doesn't matter.